Hi, and welcome to the Virgin River Cafe Rewatch podcast. Good morning, Gigi.
Good morning, Tracy. How's
Well,
it shaking?
it's good. Welcome to the finale episode of season six.
Woo!
I can't believe we
Yeah,
did it. I
I can't
cannot.
believe it
I'm
either.
still in shock. We're still here.
I am too.
A
I
year
still
and
can't.
plus
I
later.
still. I know. I still can't believe people actually sit down and listen to us.
I know, right? Like, who are these people? Like, what?
because because the people in our lives don't really listen to us.
No, they
so
don't listen to us. That's so true,
so the fact that complete strangers
right?
have taken some time out of their day while they're driving or cleaning their house or doing chores. I applaud you folks. Thank you very much. We
Yeah, because
greatly
seriously,
appreciate
I can count on one hand how many people that I know that I've told, oh, yeah, I have a podcast that
Yeah.
actually listen to it.
Oh, yeah.
One
Same here.
hand,
Yeah. I agree
which
with you on
is
that.
hilarious. But
Yes.
you know what?
Yeah.
We went into this like we don't care. We're just going to
That's
do what we're
true.
going to do. And if
That is
people
quite.
listen and people like it, or they don't like it, or they don't care, or they care, you know what? We're doing it because it's fun
Yeah.
and we're
To
doing
each
it
his
because
own.
we want to.
To each his own, my friend. To
Yep.
each his own.
And it's been a lot of fun. It's been hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm actually a little sad that we're done. Like we have to wait now. I mean, yeah, we
Yes.
gotta wait.
We,
We
we
gotta
gotta
wait
wait.
until season 7 comes out, and then we have to let it because you can't
Simmer.
rewatch
Right.
immediately.
Right.
That's just
Right.
you gotta
Well,
let
also,
people, like we gotta
right.
absorb it. We gotta
Mhm. We also have to watch it a couple of times
yes,
because we know there's going to be stuff that's going to piss us off, make us happy,
right.
have us hanging
We
on
need
on
time
it
to
on
think
our,
about it. We need time
yeah,
to process.
yes, exactly. So
And
we'll have
plus
to
a
see
lot
how.
of a lot of behind the scenes come out later because a lot of times and this has been this season and the season that they just filmed. They
Mhm.
they do a lot of like filming behind the scenes and fun things and oh we can't talk about that and they have to wait until after the season airs and then they're
Right,
allowed to like talk about
then
stuff.
say something.
And so like now we see a lot of like the season 6 the stuff that comes out even now even though it's been out for a while we're
Mhm.
seeing stuff coming out
Right,
and they just weren't allowed at the time. Now they kept season 6 very hush hush because of the wedding. um
right,
I don't know if that's just the norm now because season 7 was pretty under wraps. it was
yeah,
pretty
and
it was pretty darn quiet. So
yeah.
I don't know what the situation was, but it
Well,
just seemed like they were really keeping it under wraps.
well, hopefully it's something to keep under wraps, and they bring us a good season, and we don't get a crappy season like we did in five because five was so disappointing for me. Um,
Five was just hard and sad, and yes, it,
yeah,
it moved the storyline. And without five, we wouldn't have 6 and 7.
I
So
guess.
I appreciate that. It's just yeah, it was hard. It was different. We're back at it now. We're back to the all the romance and all the fun things that we appreciate. So I
Yeah,
feel like we're
I
back on
think that
track.
my reaction to five is like a brooding teenager.
Yeah.
Didn't like it. Don't want to talk about it.
Moving on.
And exactly, let's not have this happen again, mom and dad.
Right?
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
No, I get that.
that's
I get it. I get it.
that that's my version of season five. But we're here, as you said. We don't want to digress,
Yeah.
and we're going to get to enjoy this beautiful wedding and all that comes with it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. All right. Well, so before we start, as our
well, my drink of choice
yes, your drink of
dun,
choice.
dun, 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 because it is our last season, and I did have some extra points.
Ah.
I figure I'd splurge, and my splurge is not anything grandiose, ladies and gentlemen. I had my hot drink, which is I had a cafe mocha with an extra shot of espresso and
Mm-hmm.
some extra chocolate. I
Mm-hmm.
don't do cream or foam or any of that stuff. And I get to sip and enjoy it while I we are reminiscing over this last episode. So that's
Nice.
my drink of choice.
I went seasonal because it's our last
Oh,
episode.
oh,
And
right. You went
I
with
got to
season.
take advantage of the season because it's not going to last. And I love, 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 love my iced pumpkin lattes. They're so
Yes,
good. Pumpkin pie in a
yes.
cup.
I know you do, my
I
friend.
got
I know
mine
you
for the
do.
week. This is it for the week. I
Okay.
get one.
Mhm.
So I just decided that I would go big or go home and I would save my favorite holiday drink or seasonal drink for today. So
Lovely, lovely, lovely.
yummy. So we are
Oh,
ready. We are
okay.
caffeinated and we are
Mm,
ready for the season 6 finale. So let's get started.
okay. All right. So we're in season 6, episode 10, The Big Day. Woo!
Finally. Oh my gosh. All right. So this one, the description says while their guests wait, Mel confesses her fears to Jack. Brady has a rude awakening.
Oy
Mike and
vey.
Brie have a serious moment. And Doc gets stunning news. That is a lot to unpack.
I know.
There's a lot
I
happening there. So,
Yeah. And I know
yeah,
most of it is not good.
none of it is good. I mean, there's a lot there's we get to the good, but there's a lot of upheaval going on.
Mm-hmm.
So when we left our friends in Virgin River, Mel was having a moment. She was feeling nervous and scared and unsure because in her mind, everyone she gets close to leaves and dies. And she
True.
is so scared that something's going to happen and then she's going to lose Jack. And in his infinite wisdom, because he knows her so well, he's like, let's get out of here. And that's what they do. So, little reminiscent from Runaway Bride.
Yes, yes,
Um,
yes.
there have been a few movies where the bride takes off on a horse. Not a lot where the
Mm-hmm.
bride and the groom take away off on a horse, but when they take off on a horse, that's one way to solve the problem. And
Yes,
Jack,
I get that.
Jack doesn't. It's like, yeah, I know today's our wedding day and everybody's waiting, but so what? This is what Mel needs, and this is what I'm gonna do. Because when
Right,
it
right.
comes to them, they're only going to do what's best for each other, and he will take care of
Exactly.
Mel because that's her person.
Yeah, yeah.
And let me tell you, this was beautifully done.
It was. Yeah.
Really well done. And this is why sugar was so important in like the
And
theme
staying.
the theme of the season, because at the end of
Yeah.
every season, um Alex Breckenridge and Martin Henderson give a gift to the whole cast, as do the show. The show gives everyone a gift. And
Mm-hmm.
the theme of their gift had a horse on it. And no one knew why because they showed the gift and be like, oh, we can't tell you why, but the horse is the theme. And now we know why. Sugar was like sprinkled throughout the entire season. And
Right.
then at the end becomes a little bit more. Like they decided to keep Sugar. And now Sugar
Mm-hmm.
is helping them get to the place that they need to get to in order to get married.
Right.
So we start the episode with Jack taking Mel, and they get on the back of Sugar, and they're riding away. And they show them sneaking away at the very end of episode 9. You could see them. Nobody was paying attention. They're sneaking off. Thank goodness they
Yeah.
kept Sugar there, or else what were they going to do? Like, that was
I
perfect.
know. Yeah.
And now that Sugar can be ridden, because remember, Sugar was a little wild, but Jack tamed him.
Mm-hmm.
So they're riding off in this beautiful green field, and her gorgeous, unbelievable dress is just flowing behind her. It's beautiful.
It's a beautiful dress.
Now, keep in mind that while they're actually riding, Alex
Mm-hmm.
Breckenridge is not on that horse.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, no. Like, she's sitting on the horse when they're walking, when they're sitting, when he's, getting on, getting off, all of that. But the riding, and that's a stunt person. She's like, I am, no, not going to do that. Yeah. Now, I want to say that Martin Henderson was riding. I think he went ahead and did it, but he rides. He seems way more comfortable. He did a really great job in the episodes before, when he was supposed to be
Right, right.
taming Sugar.
Right.
But in the beginning, I love always they do these wonderful overhead shots of
Yes.
everything. Usually it's people driving down the road, usually in their car. But this one is them overhead with her dress, and it's just like over the back of the horse and her veil, and it's just beautiful. And he takes her to a very special spot that we remember from
Yeah.
very, very early on.
It's where he fell in love with her.
Yes. I mean, she's sort of like, okay, what are we, where are we, what are we doing? So he gets off the horse and he's very carefully, she's like holding her veil and she's very carefully trying to get off the horse. And they're kind of laughing. And she's like, I can't believe we ran away from our wedding. And it's like, he doesn't care. He's like, you know what?
No,
They're going to wait. What are they going to do?
what are they gonna do?
What are they going to do? Seriously, they're all just going to sit around and wait. I mean, it would have to be like hours and hours that go by before anybody leaves because this is the
Exactly.
wedding of the
Of
century
century.
in Virgin River. And
That's
they
right.
always say the wedding is never you're never late for your wedding because it doesn't start till you show up. So they're
Well,
technically
yeah.
not even late.
Well, there's a line from Julie Andrews' Princess Diaries where she arrives late to Mia's wedding
Yes.
and her husband's wedding, which never takes place. But sorry for the spoilers, folks
No,
who
that's
haven't
fine.
seen it. But
That's
the
fine.
movie is
It's an old movie.
it's an old movie. And she arrives late and she says, quote, "I'm not late, they're just early."
Yes. No, I get it. So Mel's like, I can't believe we ran away from our own wedding. And Jack in all his dimples, oh,
Mhm.
adorable.
His infinite wisdom.
Oh, yes. He says, oh, we kind of rode away. And she goes, yeah, that was your idea. And never again. And they're laughing about it. Like they're having like a good time just walking on this like beachy sort of by the river area. They're just walking down closer to the water and they're just standing there at the water's edge, just looking. She's like, why did you bring me here? And then we go back to some flashbacks. The very
Mhm.
first time, it was like our first day, and she gets a coffee, and then he says, meet me at 7 a.m. in this certain spot. He drew her a map. He gave her boots. He walked her to the water's edge. He showed her the eagles. He brought her to a place that was quiet and calm, and she was like, okay, so what else? What's next? And he's like, nothing. This is it. Like, this was a place of calm and peace, and he just
Mhm.
felt she needed that at that moment. And again,
Right.
he always knows what she needs.
Yeah.
And so they're reminiscing of the two of them sitting there when she was cold, and he took his jacket off and he put it around her, and they sat together. And he's like, why do you think? And they see an eagle fly above them, just like when he was there with her originally. And she smiles, and he looks at her, and she looks at him, and they're just watching the eagle. Now, everyone is back at the house, and everyone is seated waiting for the bride and groom to arrive, and Hope is pacing on their like little deck porch area. And she's pacing
Yes.
and she's like, "Oh my gosh." And then we see Denny and Lizzie, and Denny's like, "Okay, preacher's back." And Hope's like sarcastically, "Oh great. Wedding's almost complete." Like we're at least gathering some of the missing pieces and parts, but she's like, all we need now is a bride and groom. And then we see Joey. Joey comes up behind Hope, and she's like, they're not in the barn. She's like, any sign of them? She goes, yes, Joey, we found them. They're waiting right now to walk down the aisle. But I'd much rather pace anxiously to really build anticipation. I love Hope. God, I love her. And
She
she's like yelling. God, she is freaking out.
she is something else.
And Joey
Um,
grabs Hope, and she's like, Hope, they're going to come back. She's like talking to her. Calm. She goes, do you know what I had to do to secure doves so last minute? Trained doves. Lizzie's like, trained? Don't they just kind of fly out when you open the cage? And Hope looks at her like, I know you didn't just say
Uh,
that.
oh my God.
She walks over to her, and Denny grabs Lizzie because Hope is coming in. She's like, we're going to go keep looking for Mel and Jack. And he's like, let's get out of here. And he hightails it out of here. Oh, dirty looks. And Joey's like, your doves are not going to go to waste, okay? She's like, I have faith that Mel and Jack are going to come back. And Hope's like, when? Like, she's freaking out. So Doc runs up to them, and he's like, seats are filling up. Should we send someone by the cabin? And Hope's like, can't talk now, Vernon. I've got too much to do at the moment. And very sarcastically, because remember, he was saying that she's a little too much because they're mad at each other and everything that's going on. So she's not really talking to him so much right now. So she walks away. Hope's had it. Doc looks at Joey. Joey looks at Doc like, what? And he just looks like, don't even ask. Like, he gives her the look like, just don't bother.
It's a conversation you don't want to be part of.
Right? So we go back to Mel and Jack as they're watching the Eagles. And Mel takes a deep breath, and she's like, it's so peaceful here. And he's like, yeah. Something about this spot just soothes my soul. That's why I brought you here when we first met. You looked like you could do with some solace. She just looks so, like, sad. Like heartbroken in a way. And he's like, well, maybe you could use some now. She just takes a breath. She goes, I'm so sorry, Jack. And she's like, I'm so sorry. He goes, babe, come on. He's like, 12 hours ago, you were rushing your father into emergency surgery, not knowing if he was going to live, okay? And she starts to cry. Like, she's just had a lot go on in the last, like, couple of weeks. Finally meeting her father, and then even though lots of time had passed, they just started their relationship a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is all still new. And she's crying, and he's like, I don't blame you if you need to take a minute. And she's like, okay. And he's like, or a lot longer than that. And she laughs. She's crying. She's got tears coming down. Poor thing.
She's ruining the makeup.
That's okay. It's waterproof. She's like, I thought I was going to lose him. I mean, she's lost so many parents. That's like her worst fear. I mean, he literally did die. And if it wasn't for Mel and Jack doing, CPR, he would have been dead. Like, if they didn't come, he'd have been dead. Because I don't think Doc would have shown up in time to save him. And Doc wouldn't have even known to go over there because he called Mel. He didn't call Doc. Right. So she saved his life, and he's still there because of it. But she can't help the feeling that she literally almost lost him. Another parent.
Yep.
She's like, I really almost lost him. And all of this pain and fear just came rushing back. And all this loss. And she's just so sad. She goes, my mother, my father, my husband, my daughter, and all of the other babies. She goes, and I love you. I love you so much, and I want us to start our lives together. But I don't want to bring all of this with me. And he's like, I get it. He's like, you don't want to walk down that aisle with ghosts. And she shakes her head no as she's crying. And he's like, yeah. She's like, no. She goes, I'm sorry. This is supposed to be one of the happiest days of our lives. And I feel like I'm just ruining it, and it just kills me. And he's so sweet. He's like, you're not ruining anything. He's holding her hands, looking into her eyes. He's like, okay. He's like, look, we both bring a life that's been lived.
Amen to that.
Right? It's not like our first marriages, We know who we are now and what we want for the rest of our lives. And I know that there isn't a single thing in this world that I want more than you. And she smiles. Finally, we get a smile out of her, right? It's like, goodness. The crying and the smiling. I mean, it's just so much emotion. And he's like, every part of you. He goes, I accept your past, broken places, and all. Aww. Just like I'm trying to learn to accept mine. Holding the good and the bad at the same time. Now, he's tearing up also. Now, when I know from what I've read, that when they do scenes like this, like he gets sometimes so emotional that they have to stop and like redo it because he gets too emotional. I mean, it's easy she cries. I mean, she's an expert at the crying, and she's had to do so much of it that it's sort of like par for the course. But But him,
Mhm.
sometimes it hits a little too hard. So, and I mean, they are such close friends and they've been doing this for so long that when they're in these scenes, they're feeling all the emotions and they can just kind of like go with it, which is, it just makes the show better. It makes their characters better. It makes the relationship
Yeah,
between
it's
them
the
better.
better. Yeah,
So good.
you feel a connection.
Oh, absolutely. And he's like, because I take you, Mel, with all of it. Every thought in your head, every hole in your heart, every pain and joy of your past, your present, as she laughs, and our future. Oh, they're both crying, looking into each other's eyes. She's like, are those your vows? And he kind of's like, they are now. And he's like practically crying. And they're both sort of laughing a little bit. And she's like, you always know what to say. And he's like, that's because I get you. And I've got you. Which is what she needed. This is exactly what she needed. She needed to
Yeah.
know that whatever she was feeling, whatever she needed, that it was okay. And that's what she was feeling like it wasn't okay. And he's like, and I've got you. Always. She's like, I got you too. Little kisses. Aw. And they're just kind of teary eyed staring at each other. She's like, what do you say we go get married? And he's like, I say yeah. She's like, okay. Little
Meanwhile, back at the
kiss.
ranch.
Yeah. Give us a kiss. And then they start walking toward the horse, holding
Yeah.
hands in this beautiful, beautiful day by the water. Now, of course, we do a scenery shot, your typical Virgin River. So now we're back. And everyone is
Mm-hmm.
kind of just waiting around because while they're having a moment, everybody else is like just listening to music. Like, yeah, it wasn't the wedding supposed to start? Like, yeah, it's okay. It's a little delayed, veils and dresses and things and whatever. We've got the band playing music, kind of
Mm-hmm.
entertain the people while we wait.
Yep.
Kaya's passing out programs. And we've got Lark, who has a decidedly sour look on her face, I think is a good way to
Mm-hmm.
describe it. Because now that she's heard what she heard, because if we remember when we left our friends in Virgin River, Brady and Brie were having a very heated conversation, and he basically spilled the
that
beans of
that
his.
that wasn't that wasn't heated. That was intense.
Okay, I
That
think that is a better word. Intense.
that's intense because there were feelings that were said.
Yes.
There was passion being
Oh
blown
yeah.
across the air.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she caught hold of that entire scene, and
Oh
that
yeah.
was a gut wrenching blow to her. And I'm
I
no
get it.
fan of Lark, as we all know, but I think if you hear the person who you
say you love,
finally
yeah.
right, and then you hear him spill his guts in the most intimate fashion of all. Yeah, that's a slap in the face, ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen.
he's
That's a slap.
confessing his undying love for Brie while Lark is listening.
Mhm.
Like, wow, that's a
Yeah,
slap.
yeah,
That's a big
that,
slap.
yeah, that's just, as I said, no fan of Lark, but
So she is sitting there, and the body language says it all. Not happy. Okay, and the girlfriend is not happy, and of course Hazel, who's sitting between them, thank goodness, is
thank God.
oblivious to it all and just drinking her lemonade in her boa and tiara. And Brady is just, busying himself looking at the program. Hazel's like, can I have some more lemonade? And Lark is like, not now, sweetie. Took Brady a while to get it. Must have been some line. He goes, yeah, sorry, there was. Just got to talking
Mm,
to people. And she's like, I wonder if they're going to cantaloupe. And Brady's like, cantaloupe? And he's like, elope? And she's like, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And he's like, oh, no, I doubt it. And Lark's like, never know, plans change.
mm,
And he's finally getting it because she wasn't like this earlier. And he's finally getting her vibe. And he kind of leans over and he goes, are you okay? She's like, yeah.
mm.
Why wouldn't I be? And Hazel's just excited to see Mel in her dress. She's like, I can't wait to see her dress. She's so excited. And Brady's like, have you ever played Candy Crush? Now that's a shameless plug. I'm sure Candy Crush paid some bucks to advertise because why not?
Yeah.
We've heard other things on other shows where they leave products
Yeah.
sitting and whatever. So Candy Crush, yay. And Brady grabs his phone. He's like, what I do sometimes to kill time. And as we're seeing his phone and we're seeing him put his password in,
Mm-hmm.
and Lark is watching what Hazel's doing because he gives her his phone so she can play Candy Crush. It just occupies her time for a little bit, kind of buys some time while they're sitting and waiting. And he's like, crush away. So now we've got Mike, Denny, and Preacher who are all standing talking to Hope. And Kaya comes around the corner and she's like, hey. And Preacher comes over to her. He's like, hey. She's like, everyone's waiting and I'm all out of programs. Any update? He's like, I am not liberty to say or move. He goes, Hope's orders. She goes, okay. Roger that. And he's like, hey, listen, my speech earlier, I didn't mean anything about you and your marriage. She's like, I know. But this weekend is still bringing up a lot for me. He's like, yeah, okay. She goes, oh, no regrets. My divorce was final months ago, and I am really grateful Jay's not in my life. He's like, no, I get it. Preacher's like, Jay, he wasn't a good guy. And Kaya's like, he did a lot of bad things. And she's like, and I did some too. But she goes, but you know me, I'm not a quitter. And I hate losing. And they both kind of laugh. He goes, and I do have grit. I did everything I possibly could to make my marriage work. I mean, they were married for 7 years. She goes, the more I fought, the more damage it did. And not just to my marriage. Just, I don't know, to the whole idea. My faith in it. So maybe this, she's like, just isn't for me. He's like, what? This? This being marriage? And she kind of looks at him with like sad eyes, like she's going to say something. And then Hope walks up. It's like, oh, we're getting somewhere. And she's like, Kaya, you might want to take your seat. The crowd is getting restless. I need to do something. And so Kaya kind of like wants to finish the conversation with Preacher because it's a deep one, but goes back to her seat anyway. And as she's doing that, Hope decides that she's going to occupy the crowd's time while we wait for Mel and Jack to return from wherever it is they are that no one seems to know. So she heads up to the podium and she's like, welcome. Very uncomfortable. She's like, welcome friends and family to this very special occasion. Before we witness Mel and Jack enter into the bond of holy matrimony, I would like to share a few thoughts on the subject of love. And she kind of gets pretty comfortable sitting at the podium. She goes, and marriage. So everybody in the crowd is just kind of like looking and smiling and nodding like, okay, this is obviously a stall tactic, but we're going to go with it. Love and marriage. It's an institute you can't disparage. It's like, oh no. The look, people are kind of chuckling. Now we're watching Preacher, Mike, and Brie hiding behind one of the little lattice separators.
And basically, they see desperation happening here.
They're like, oh my God. Mike, the look on Mike's face is like, oh my God, this is, it's heading, the ship is sinking. The ship is sinking. Oh my goodness. They're looking through and they see her up there and they're, oh my God. She goes, though many have tried to disparage marriage. And Doc walks up behind the three of them who are sort of hiding, watching Hope through this. He goes, Frank Sinatra never did, though. No, he was married. And then Mel and Jack walk up behind Doc. And Denny and Lizzie see them. So everybody's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And they're standing there. And Jack's like, oh, this is bad. And Doc turns around like he's just, seeing them. And then it dawns on him, there they are. And Jack like raises his eyebrows like, hi. He goes, hey, he goes, like, you're back. They're like, yes. And we're ready. And Jack says to Preacher, you got my, and he goes, yeah, it's in the Airstream. And Mel looks at Jack and she goes, what's in the Airstream? And he goes, give me 5 minutes.
Please get Hope off that stage.
Right? And so when Jack says to Mel, give me 5 minutes, Lizzie pipes in, and not too nicely. She goes, sure, why not? We're only an hour behind. Jack gives her a look like, and Denny looks at Lizzie like, you probably shouldn't have said that. He grabs her, and she's like, I mean, it's your special day. Take all the time you need. They all kind of laugh. So Jack's like, looks at Mel and he's like, I'll see you at the altar. And she's like, okay. So she's got a big smile on her face. Like, she's fine now. Like, everything is good. Everything is good.
Oh,
I mean, thank God, right? Thank God we made it this far. Because
exactly. Now we just have to get Hope off from whatever she's doing up there.
so Hope continues. And she's like, so, you see, many people have been married. Like, she's grabbing at straws at this point. Like, talk about,
Straws, honey. She's pulling this stuff out of her ass.
right?
It's so sad,
She's
but it's
talking for the
hysterical.
sake of talking, and it's just terrible. And then
Oh
she's
my
like, I'd like to open the floor for questions. And they're all looking at her. People are giggling. People are like looking like this is ridiculous. They're laughing.
Oh
They're trying to hide
god.
their laughs. And
Oh
she's
my
like,
god.
Muriel, I believe I saw your hand, didn't I? And of course, no, she didn't. Muriel looks at her like, uh, 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 uh. And then we see Denny and Lizzie waving to Hope, finally, just get the woman to stop talking. And she's like, oh, thank God, okay. He goes, without further ado, let's get the show on the road. So we've got everyone lined up. So Lizzie's passing out flowers and things for the boys, the kids, for Joey's kids, and we've got Pony, the dog, who has the rings, and then we've got Joey and Brie, who are ready, and then Mel, and everyone's getting ready. She goes, Morgan, Theo, James, and Pony, you're first, because Lizzie's sort of in charge of getting everybody where they need to go. So Morgan goes first, and then the boys have the dog. And Mel's like, oh, they're so sweet. So Morgan goes first, and she starts dropping the petals. And we're seeing the view from the videographer. And the boys each have, they're on either side of Pony, and they're holding on to him. And the videographer's recording, walking backwards down the aisle. And Lizzie's like, okay, Sam and Amelia. So they get to go next. Amelia waves to Mike and Bree, and she goes, see you up there. And then Lizzie's like, okay, Mike and Bree. And just as Mel, she's like looking at her father's cufflinks that Joey gave her, that she wrapped around her flowers, where she holds them. Doc's just looking at Mel, just so sweet. Just so sweet. So next is Preacher and Joey. And then Lizzie looks at Doc and Mel, and she's like, see you guys out there. And so Mel takes a deep breath, and Doc's like, you look absolutely stunning. He goes, oh, thank you, Doc. He's like, so, how are you feeling? And she's like, happy. She goes, yeah. She goes, I was a little overwhelmed at first. He goes, yeah. He goes, yeah, was it all the ice sculptures? They start laughing. He goes, well, I will admit, Jack and I had our reservations about a lot of it.
Until she finds out about the doves.
I know, right? He goes, Hope really went so above and beyond. And Doc's like, yeah, She goes, but it's perfect. And Doc's like, yeah. He goes, well, this is what she does for the people she loves. And they have great song playing. And Mel's like, yeah. I mean, they know that. It all comes from love. Puts her arm around his arm so they can go down the aisle together. He's like, oh, okay, here we go. So there she is. Everyone stands up and sees her. And Jack is dressed in his dress blues. He went back to the Airstream. The 5 minutes he needed was so he could change. Because remember, he was very unsure about wearing his dress blues. He just wanted to leave that part of his life behind him. But it looks like he changed his mind. So we have Hope, who's going to be the officiant. And then Jack is up there dressed in his blues. And Mel sees him for the first time with a big smile on her face as they start walking down the aisle. And he's teary. Oh my gosh, he's crying. She's crying. Everybody's crying. Like both of them are totally tearing out. Even the crowd, even the people in the crowd are crying. Oh, yeah, those are real tears. So Doc kisses Mel, and Mel gives her flowers to Joey, and Jack gives his hat to Preacher, and Hope is like, dearly beloved. And a big smile looking at each other. She's like, we are gathered here today to witness the union. There's just music in the background. We don't actually hear what they're saying because they kind of already did their vows. You can't hear what they're saying, but it must be funny because everybody's laughing. They're looking at the crowd. Everyone's smiling. They hold hands. So Mel's like, I love you so much. Because you heard his vows, but you really didn't hear her vows. We don't really need to hear his vows again because he already said everything he would have said, wanted to say that was important back when they were on the beach by the water. So now it's like her turn. And she's like, all of you, past, present, and future. And he's like, that's funny. Because you'll will always be my handsome hiking guide. And he laughs. My fishing instructor, my batting coach, all the memories. Takes a deep breath. She goes, and you are my home. Aw, he's like crying. She puts his ring on his hand, and he puts her ring on her hand. And Hope is like, I now pronounce you husband and wife. And he goes, all right, Jack, you may kiss the bride. And so they grab each other's faces, kiss the bride. Everybody's like, woohoo. Oh, everybody's crying. The two of them. She's wiping her tears. So sweet. So they start walking down the aisle, and people are throwing rose petals. And just they get about halfway, he stops and he kisses her right in the middle of the aisle, and then he dips her to kiss her. Very sweet.
Yes.
Everyone's clapping. And then Hope makes an announcement. She's like, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time, because now they've all gathered to the porch of their house. Everyone's gathered around. Hope comes out and she's like, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce for the first time Jack and Mel Sheridan. And then they come out. She does a little curtsy. So cute. And she's like, the dress is perfection. And Joellen and Lydia are like, oh, well. She goes, all thanks to the two of you. They did such a good job. Yeah. Joellen looks at Jack and she's like, you look pretty good too. And he's like, careful, I'm married. And everybody laughs. Everything is funny. Mel sees, she gasps, she goes, oh my goodness, hi. And they see Tara with Chloe, and she goes, look at her dress. And Ava's there, and she's like, doesn't she look beautiful? So she can't handle it. Look at her dress. Her hair is so cute. She's so big. And Jack's like, you're enjoying the wedding? Like, they're just catching up because they really didn't get a chance to see a lot of these people because they were getting ready. So finally, we've got Hope and Doc. They have been at odds. And I think they, so she's like, I'm sorry. Was that too much too? And he's like, no, look. And they pull each other aside. And he's like, that was the most epic wedding this part of the world has ever seen. She's like, it was a group effort. And he's like, whoa, as she tries to leave. He goes, would you please let me apologize to you? From Mel and Jack to your friends, to a horse, to me, the lengths you go for the love are profound. And it's one of the many things that I adore about you. And she's like, oh, keep going. Like, he's got a lot of groveling to do. And he's like, when you show your love, you go to extremes.
No kidding.
But I didn't mean to make it seem that I was ungrateful or that I was minimizing your special gift. He grabs her face and he's like, Hope McCrae, I absolutely love you. I do. And a kiss. The two of them.
The old people are getting down.
Right? And she's like, thank you for saying that. She goes, I'm so sorry. I made things worse with your medical license. And he's like, we'll contend with all that tomorrow. But tonight, we're celebrating Mel and Jack. And us. More kissing. And then his phone rings, so he's gone to get it. He goes, sorry. And he looks very surprised. He goes, what? What? And he's like, I might have just pulled a Hope. And she's like, oh, responding to something. I guess we'll find out later. Now, we've got Brie talking to Joey, and Mike walks by behind them, and Brie's got an odd look on her face. Now, Kai is at the bar, and because it's a wedding, generally, when there's an open bar or there's a bar, they usually create one drink for the woman and one drink for the man. So it's like a bride and groom special drink. So the specialty cocktails are a Melmosa and a Jack and Ginger, which Kai is at the bar. she is ordering a drink, getting ready to order a drink, and Brady walks up. And he's like, hell of a wedding. She's like, oh, yeah, so much fun. Because the two of them, I mean, it's uncomfortable for different reasons. Kai is not comfortable because she just doesn't want to get married, doesn't want to be married. I mean, weddings are a fun party, but not her.
As I like to say, been there, done that, not doing it again.
Right.
You
And,
know,
and
so.
Brady's just uncomfortable because his current girlfriend, who is clearly uncomfortable for some reason, and the woman he loves but doesn't want him, are both in the same place at the same time with a guy who he's sort of friends with who is dating his sort of ex-girlfriend. Very complicated. So
Yes.
Kaya orders, she goes, I'll have a mimosa. And Brady's like, yeah, I'll do a Jack and Ginger, but hold the ginger.
Oh God, I love these people.
And Kaya takes a deep breath. And Brady's like, that's quite a sigh. And she goes, yeah, I think I just told Preacher that I don't want to get married. I mean, I don't know how this happened, but the two of them have like low key have become besties. Like she knows about his sleeping with Brie, and now she's telling him things about her and Preacher's relationship. Like I don't know how that happened. Like the most unlikely pair to like have deep conversations, meaningful deep conversations, but that's what's happening.
Well,
which I think is kind of funny.
Strange bedfellows, as they
right?
say.
And Brady looks at it and goes, ouch. He goes, that's like telling a kid there's no such thing as Santa on Christmas. And she just takes a sip. And she's like, yeah, I know. Mm-hmm.
Just love it.
And he looks at her and he goes, so it's really off the table? And she's looking very uncomfortable. And she's like, I don't know. She's like, I mean, I can't help but feel partly responsible for my marriage ending, as she takes a sip. He goes, yeah, but sometimes two people just aren't right for each other. He's like, you can't let one person get in the way of your next relationship. And he takes a sip as he's watching Brie talk to Joey. And so then she can't help herself. Kaya's like, so is your next relationship with Lark? As he's staring at Brie, as Kaya looks at him while he's staring at Brie. She goes, are you still hoping for a chance with Brie? And he looks at Kaya, doesn't really say anything. So Denny and Lizzie come in, make an announcement. Everyone, dinner is ready down at the barn. Just as Brie looks over at Brady. They catch eyes at each other, and they both look away. And Lizzie's like, and remember, it's potluck, so choose wisely. Brady leans over to Kaya, and he goes, stay away from the Swedish meatballs. She looks at him. She goes, thank you. Now they've got the barn transformed. There are fairy lights. There are ice sculptures. The tables are set beautifully. There's a photo booth. The bakery truck is ready. They went all out. It's absolutely beautiful.
It's gorgeous, yeah.
And it looks like Nick, he's over by the giant smoker barbecue. And because Mel and Jack get to eat first, they walk up to it, and Nick is there. And Sam, Jack's dad, is there. And Nick is like, well, Nick, we'll grab some, please. And we're going to need some extra napkins. And he's giving them a slice of meat. So Sam stops to talk to Mel and Jack, and he goes, you two certainly know how to make an entrance. She's like, oh, gosh, I'm sorry, Sam. We needed a minute alone together. And he's like, don't apologize. This is your day. Always put each other first. In hindsight, that was your mother and I's undoing. He goes, well, from what Brie tells us, you guys might be redoing. And then Sam just laughs. And he's like, well, I truly hope so, as he looks over at Amelia, who is right now talking to Hope and Doc. And they're smiling at each other from across the way. And Jack's like, I'm happy for you. He goes, and I want to apologize for not wearing the suit you bought me. Because remember, he changed. He was supposed to wear the suit that him and Sam went out shopping for.
Yeah, he got a custom-made suit.
Yeah.
Well, he can wear it for something else.
And Sam's like, well, I hope you didn't feel like I was forcing something on you. And he's like, no, not at all. It was just a last-minute wardrobe change. And Mel kind of nudges Jack in the shoulder and she goes, "And you look so handsome." He goes, "Oh, thanks." And they both kind of giggle. And Sam finally, I think this is the first time he actually acknowledges it. He's like, "I know how much your service means to you." And Jack's like, "Yeah, well, I guess we'll never really see eye to eye on that." And Sam, I think it's like it's taken him all of this time to finally come to terms with his feelings about all this. He's like, "Jack,
Yeah.
when you enlisted, I was petrified. After losing Adam, the idea of losing you was more than I could bear." And that's not something that Jack ever knew. He just thought he was
Exactly.
mad and he wasn't following in his footsteps or something. And he's like, "So I couldn't condone it." He goes, "But in retrospect, it was selfish. I'm proud of your service, son, and I'm proud of you." And I think that's the first time he's ever said. Jack's like getting teary
Yeah,
because he's never
I know.
heard this out of this man's mouth before.
Right. He's acknowledging that he's proud of him, but also acknowledging that he's scared.
Yeah.
I mean,
He could never say that. Like he was too proud of a man to say that he was weak at
exactly.
all. And time will do that. It will bring those walls down. And Sam's like, "I love you, Jack." And he goes, "Well, I love you too." And Mel's just looking at the two of them with a big smile on her face. Oh, what a moment. So just as they're having their moment, Hope and Doc walk up and Hope's like, "Excuse us, Jack, could we have a word with you?" And Jack's like, "Me?" And he goes, "Please, just you." Hope's like, "We'll bring him back." So they need to borrow him. And Sam just takes a minute and talks to Mel and he's like, "Oh, Sam." And he's like, "Sorry you had to see that." She gives him a hug. Oh, so sweet. So the inside of the barn is transformed. It's beautiful. Just beautiful. So Preacher, he's like, "Oh, time to do his speech." So he stands up there and he's like, "Today we are here to celebrate Mel and Jack, who have a front table right in front of them, and it's Preacher and Kaya and Brie and Jack and Doc and Hope, and then and the married couple all sitting together at the head table." So Preacher's going to do his best man speech that he's been practicing. He goes, "Now I've known Jack for over 20 years. We've served multiple tours together. We've built a thriving business." And he looks at his cards and he goes, I prepared a speech that could take us all the way to Mel and Jack's first anniversary." And everybody starts laughing. He goes, "But instead," and he throws the cards on the table. And he goes, "But instead, I'm going to go short and sweet so we can get to the cake." And everybody's like, "Woohoo, cake." He goes, "Now, instead of preaching about marriage," and everybody laughs, "I'm going to tell you what I've learned from my best friend, Jack. That's courage. I can't think of a better demonstration of courage than being the woman who has fallen in love with Jack Sheridan." Everybody starts laughing. He goes, "Mel, I commend your courage in withstanding the scrutiny of an adoring yet protective community.
Oh, hell
Life
yes.
threatening wildfires, not to mention some very complicated ex girlfriends." Everybody's like, "Oh," and Jack's looking around like, "Oops," like, "Wow, thanks." And Mel, kind of as he's talking, Mel leans over and Preacher's like, "But most of all," and so Mel looks over and they're both looking around the room, and Jack, because they just mentioned ex girlfriends, Jack looks at Mel and he goes, "Charmaine's a no show?" And Mel leans over and she's like, "Yeah, I guess so." So Preacher continues, "I commend your love for each other. See, because falling in love, well, it's an act of courage." And he looks at Kaya. "But a greater act of courage is falling in love again."
Oh,
It's poignant. I mean, it's meant for Mel and Jack because obviously she had to fall in love again to be with Jack.
right.
And he, even though he fell in love 30 years ago, he stayed away from relationships. So he had to fall in love
Mm,
again also. But this is
yeah.
very poignant. It's like, nice, Preacher. I love how this double meaning kind of, I love how you threw that in. And then
Mm-hmm.
he's like, "And trusting in your partner's love for you." And Mel and Jack look at each other. And he goes, "So, to Mel and Jack." And Kaya wipes a tear. And everybody's like, "To Mel and Jack." Mel and Jack cheers with their glasses. He's like, "Cheers, babe." And Preacher goes over and he cheers everybody at the table. And Kaya gets up, grabs his face, and kisses him.
Very sweet.
All right. So now we're by the cake,
Oh, loving the cake. There's
right?
enough cake to
Well, remember
feed the
they
whole
said they
town.
needed to add a few more tears?
They weren't kidding.
I know.
Oh,
And,
I've baked cakes that size. Oh,
right?
is the expression a bitch.
Yeah. So
Oh,
Mel grabs the knife and she's like, okay. Now we've got the videographer recording. This is a point of view of the videographer. And the two of them hold hands together. And they're like, 1, 2, and they start at the top. 3, and they cut. They cut themselves a little piece right off the very top layer. She's grabbing it. They each grab a piece. She takes half of it. She gives it to Jack. We've got Connie watching from the background. She's like, okay,
very
which piece do
proudly.
you want? He takes one. He goes, oh, it's falling apart. She goes, all right, you going to smash it in my face?
Oh, I hate when they do that.
Right? And Mel kind of looks at him like, She's like, I don't know. We'll have to see. She goes, all right, I got one too. And they very gingerly put it in each other's mouth. No smashing involved. And a kiss.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad when I got married, that was not a thing.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
don't know when it became a thing,
I don't know.
but I am so glad that was not a thing when I got married.
I know.
Umpteen years ago.
I
So
agree.
it's
And
just, I think it's just rude.
so then, just as they're finishing giving each other some cake, you see Hope look at Jack and she's like, Jack, it's time. And Mel's like, for what? Time for what? And Jack's like, oh. And he's like, ma'am, our first dance. And she's like, aw. And everybody's like, aw. So there's a guitar playing softly, and they walk out onto that patio area. And she goes, this isn't our first dance song. And they're holding hands as they're walking out, and they hear the guitar playing. And she looks, and he's like, wait for it. And she looks, and she stops in her tracks. And it's her dad. It's Everett. He's sitting there with his guitar, and the band is playing behind him. And he's strumming on his guitar. And she's standing there with her mouth open. She's like, how? So the words of the song, it's making your way to protest a war. And she's just transfixed. Needing a ride, I opened the door. And the two of them are walking out onto the dance floor. And she's just standing there. Hopped right on in, turned the radio dial. You changed the song in this heart of mine. And he's singing, and she's just like shocked. And he's sort of trying to get her to dance, but she's like shocked. And he just grabs her so they can dance. And then everybody's sort of standing around them. And when we broke down, we camped by the creek. I played my guitar. You listened to me. And she's smiling. She goes, that was the first night in my life someone could see this heart of mine. So they're just dancing to this. A mother can dream a baby will grow to find a love of her own. And they're doing some little dance moves. Now, they did take some dance lessons, if you remember. They're sort of using some of the moves that they learned to find a love of her own. Someone who's strong stands by her side, the one I can trust with this love of mine. They're doing some fancy moves. Over and over the river it flows, like years disappearing in time. The days will move slow, but the pain's going nowhere. Your hand couldn't hold on to mine. And all the nights awake, just longing for the real thing. Over and over the river will carry me home. And they're dancing. It's harder to love when you know the cost. You can't forget all that you lost. You brought me back out from the pines. You saved my soul and this heart of mine. Aw. And by this time, Mel and Jack are very close to each other, dancing slowly, cheek to cheek. And then he finishes, and everybody claps. Literally, the man had a heart attack 24 hours ago.
Looking good for a man like
Yeah.
that.
So she just stands there smiling, so proud. Now, the band who played way back when is back again, and they just start singing because now it's a party. So they put Everett back in a wheelchair. And we've got Cameron right there and Doc right there. And Everett looks up at Doc and he's like, thanks, man. Because he filled in for him. He walked Mel down the aisle. And, I guess he really worked it out. He was able to finish it. And he's like, thanks, Doc. And she's like, you finished your song. He goes, your mother inspired me to write that song. And they're holding hands. He goes, 40-something years later, you inspired me to finish it. So I'm glad I could. And he goes, oh, that was incredible, Everett. And he's like, thanks, Jack. He goes, I feel like she was here tonight, Dad. Thank you. Oh, she called him Dad.
Very cute.
And he's like, I never thought that song would end up being a love song. He goes, you gave our sad story a happy ending. Because of you, this heart of mine is finally starting to heal. She's like, oh. And as someone who is still invested in that heart of yours, what are you doing here outside of the hospital? And she looks at Doc like, I know you had something to do with this. And he goes, well, Doc pipes in. He goes, now, given his stable condition, we got permission for him to briefly attend with a medical escort. And they point to Cameron, who steps up. And he goes, Cameron. He goes, I mean, it was either this or an air fryer, so... Oh, well, this is much better than an air fryer. Thank you. And she gives him a hug. She goes, but since this was a last-minute gift, I'm assuming that the air fryer's still coming? He's like, oh. He's like, yes, of course it is. So he gives a nice handshake. He's like, congratulations. She goes, come on, Vernon. Hope's like, let's dance. So everybody's dancing. Muriel is dancing with her new man, Walt Booth. Now, Liddy and Connie walk over to talk to Everett. Now, they've known him for all these years. He goes, oh, Everett, that was so wonderful. It's so good to see you out and about again. He goes, thank you, ladies. He goes, well, I did promise Grace Valley that I'd get you back before the evening round. So Cameron's got to take him back because, there's rules. But I don't think he wants to go yet. And he's like, unfortunately, we got to go. And Everett's like, you think it'd be possible to stay just a bit longer? And Cameron looks at Mel and Jack, looks at Everett, and he goes, okay, now I feel like your dad. They start laughing. He goes, okay, maybe just a little bit longer. So we got Muriel dancing, nice steps with Walt, and now Hope and Doc have to compete with some steps. Because, that's Hope. She just can't help herself. Muriel's a good dancer.
Showdown. Honey, it's a showdown. It's not. This is not a. This is like a showdown, honey.
Oh, and then Doc and Hope are like, let's show them the octopus, and so they start doing this dance move, and then Muriel does her fancy move, and then of course as soon as they do the fancy move, they look at Doc and Hope, and Doc's like, oh, okay, we surrender. Never mind, we're done. So Muriel and Walt take a walk off. She goes, honestly, wait. She goes, why didn't you tell me you were such an incredible dancer? She's like, you don't know everything about me. And he goes, I'll go get us some lemonade. I'll be right back. And Cameron walks up to Muriel and he goes, well, that was some fancy footwork. He goes, well, I just happened to have saved a little spot on my dance card for you. He goes, oh, I appreciate that. I do, but I wish I could, but I have to get Mel's dad back to Grace Valley. He's like, all right. He goes, and then I'm headed back to San Diego first thing in the morning. She goes, oh. Okay, well then this is goodbye. He goes, yeah, this is. He goes, this is goodbye. She goes, well, is there any way I can ask how things are going with you and Michelle without sounding like some nosy woman who you used to date? And he's like, Muriel, you could never be just a woman I used to date. And things are going well. She goes, good, I'm glad. I just want you to be happy. He goes, and I want the same for you. I wish I could be here to see you through your treatment. She goes, oh, I've got plenty of people around here. And they give a nice big hug. Because they're still friends. They still care about each other. It just wasn't the right time. And he's like, so long. And off he goes. I don't know that he'll be back. I was trying to find out if his character makes a return because of what's going on in season 7. I guess there's a possibility, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
We will.
So Lizzie and Denny have taken a few minutes to relax, and because she's so very pregnant, she gets the whole ankle swelling, so he's massaging her feet. Denny says, I can't believe we got outdanced by a bunch of old people. And Lizzie's like, I don't care. She goes, my feet are killing me. I need a break. He goes, with all of our adulting lately, it's starting to feel like we're a couple of old people. She's like, what? You mean kids our age aren't talking about retirement plans and long-term palliative care? He's laughing. He's like, yeah, exactly. He's like, look, when you said you were kidding before about getting married, were you? Are you feeling a little sad we skipped this step? She goes, maybe a little. He goes, but everyone has a different path and we're figuring ours out. And that's good enough for me. And he
Isn't
grabbed,
this so surprising that she is so mature now, considering the Lizzie we
right?
knew
Oh
when she
my
first came to
gosh.
town? It's like
Yeah.
it's like two totally different people. I would never expect those words to come out of the Lizzie we met when she first came to town.
Yeah. But
It's
so
like
much has
it's like
happened. It's like she's had to grow up fast.
I guess so, but man, it's like Jekyll and Hyde with Lizzie.
It really is. Now, remember when she first moved there, I mean, she was a spoiled brat, and basically she was banished to Virgin River because her parents didn't want to deal with her. And
Oh, also she got caught shoplifting.
right, but I mean, they got her out of town. They're like, we're not dealing with you. You're gonna go somewhere else. We're just gonna get you out of town. And it's like she was
Mm-hmm.
forced almost to grow up because Connie wasn't putting up with all that,
Oh, Connie was not putting up with that.
right? And so, and then with Hope sort of treating her as an adult, treating
An
her as a
adult.
person, which her parents never did. It
Yeah,
sort of gave her what she needed to see herself as a person, not just as an extension of her parents. And
yeah.
she started growing up, and now that she's pregnant, it's like you got to step it up, girlfriend. I think she's had to grow up faster than, in this year and a half, she's completely changed.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So Denny's like, even though it feels like a certain part of our life is kind of on fast forward, my love for you, Lizzie, I don't want to rush. Oh, little kiss. He goes, let's make a vow to take our relationship slow and savor it. She's like, I will. Oh, they're cute.
Yep.
So Mel and Jack are walking on to where the dance floor is. One thing, Denny and Lizzie, they play 19 and 20-year-olds. They're actually in their late 20s. I think he's 31 and she's like 27. I know that's
Right.
crazy.
Well, it's so funny you say that because it reminds me of the movie Grease.
Oh God,
You-
yes. Everybody was in their
ev-
30s.
Everybody was in their 30s or
Especially
above.
Stockard Channing. I think she was the
It's not,
oldest
yeah,
one.
Stockard Channing was what? In her, I think
She was
she
like
was in her,
34.
exactly. And it's like, so it's in movie line,
You just have to look the part. You just have to
yeah,
look the part.
yeah.
I mean, that's just the way it is. Now, Mel and Jack are coming together on the dance floor. Now, Mel has this furry white short little jacket on that's keeping her warm because her dress is very revealing on top. And it's a cool evening. I mean, I know it's supposed to be May, but you are in the mountains. Interestingly enough, they didn't have a jacket for her to wear. And that jacket that she's wearing is actually her jacket that she wore in her own wedding. So when she got married, she had what she said was a kind of a similar dress, and it was a sort of like a similar vibe. It was in Colorado. I think she got married in Colorado. It was outside. It was a very similar vibe, and she had this jacket that she wore with her wedding dress. And when they were trying to do costuming and trying to figure out, what could she wear over, she's like, I have this jacket I wore in my wedding. Let me, showed them pictures of it. And they're like, yeah, that could work. So her husband dug it out of the closet and stuck it in the mail and shipped it to her in Vancouver. Costuming saw it, said, perfect. That's what we're going to use. And so she's actually wearing her own wedding jacket for Mel's wedding, which I think is so interesting. But you never know. You never know what you're going to need.
Yep.
So they're dancing, and Lark and Brady are also dancing. And he's like, you look pretty tonight. She's like, as pretty as Brie. So now she's going to be vindictive. Now she's going to dig and she's going to say stuff. And he's like, is that why you've been acting so strange? And she's like, actually, it's about you talking to her earlier. She's like, I saw you. He's like, oh. He goes, yeah, that. He goes, I thought we made a deal. She goes, that we would be honest with each other. And he's like, yeah. Yeah. I talked to her. And I told her that she should give you the benefit of the doubt, like I did. She knows he's lying.
Well, no, he did say that at the beginning of the conversation. The point is, did she hear that at the beginning of the
Yeah,
conversation?
we don't know. And she's like, really?
See? So
He's like, yeah,
do we don't know when she walked into that
that's
conversation.
true.
She
That's
have
true.
walked into that conversation when, which is usually the case with storylines like this, where they
Right.
walk in
You don't
halfway
hear
through,
all of it. You only hear part
they
of it.
don't hear all of it. Exactly. Because you remember, he went to get lemonade for Hazel, and then he may have been taking too long, and she probably got up to go see what was going on.
Yeah.
So she missed that first half of that conversation.
Goodness. She's like, yeah. And she's like, that's it. And he's like, yep.
Oh
She's
boy.
like,
See?
wow. She's like, thank you. He's like, oh my God. She's like, I'm so sorry. She goes, I was being so paranoid. He goes, hey, it's okay. It's all right. He goes, we've been through a lot. I just. And he's holding her very, very close. Like they're dancing like very close. He goes, I think we just need to focus on moving forward together.
Oh boy.
She's like, yeah? He goes, yeah, I'd love that. And he goes to kiss her and she turns away from him and she goes, I haven't had eyes on Hazel in a while. She goes, I should
Hmm.
probably go check on her. He goes, okay, you go do that. He goes, when I last saw her, she was at our table playing Candy Crush on my phone.
Hmm.
Sounds like you got her hooked. He's like, yeah, I might have. She goes, just remember, this is your fault. Ooh, if that's not a. He doesn't look happy. Like, that comment just made him a little uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
That's why they always say, listen to your sixth sense.
yeah. And I feel like that was, what do they call that? Sort of like, oh, something's going to
Deja
happen.
vu.
No, it's that like a precursor, like an not an Easter egg. It's like a foreboding. What's the word? I can't think of it right now. Um, it's like somebody says something that alludes to something coming later. It's a literary term, and I can't remember what it is.
Well, I don't remember it either. So when it
That's okay.
comes to me, I'll let you know.
That's okay. So now we've got Walt and Muriel, and they're having a lot of fun in the photo booth because there's glasses and there's hats and all kinds of fun things. She's laughing. She's like, oh my goodness, look at this. Look at your face in this picture. And so we've got Kaya and Preacher. And she's like, hey, do you want to do the photo booth? He goes, sure. And he's like, because we don't have to. He goes, I wouldn't want to pressure you into the photo booth. Oh, so, okay, so double meaning conversations. It's going to happen all day. Nobody ever says what they mean. They have to say something to tell you that they're thinking about something else. He's like, if you don't want to do it. And she looks at him. She goes, she's like, it's just the whole idea of a photo booth in general are scary.
I love how she's going about this.
He's like, oh, yeah, they are a huge commitment. And they both start laughing. She goes, if I was ever to imagine spending the rest of my life in a photo booth, it would be with you. And he's like, you have stood by my side in more ways than I could ever imagine. He goes, we've got nothing but time. He grabs her face. He gives her a little kiss. So sweet. She's got to get up on her toes because she's so tiny. She goes, so do you want to do the photo booth for real? And he goes, well, isn't that what we've been talking about this whole time? She's like, come on, let's go. So she grabs him. She gets a red boa. And he gets some kind of thing on his head. Goofy. Looks like devil ears. He's sitting on her lap. She's sitting on his lap. So Mel is looking for the restroom and she sees Brie, who looks visibly upset. And she's like, hey. And Mel's like, oh my gosh. She goes, I could really use an assist. She goes, I haven't peed all day and I need help with this gown. And Brie's like, okay, let's do it. And Mel looks at her face and she's like, wait. Because you could tell she's been crying. Like tears in her eyes and everything. And Mel is like, sweetheart, are you okay? She goes, yep, I'm fine. I'm fine. She wipes her tears. She's like, I'm fine, really. She goes, today is about you and Jack. And then we hear a voice. She says, of course, the path to the ladies' room is where all the fun is at. It's Kaya, who's smiling because she's just had a nice conversation and a fun photo booth with Preacher. And then she gets a look at Brie. She goes, when the band's back from break, let's hit the dance floor. She goes, I've been looking for you everywhere. Brie needs a second. And Kaya looks at Brie, and that's when she notices that she's been crying. And she goes, oh, what's wrong? And Brie grabs her and she goes, I'm fine. Can we just please help Mel go pee? And Mel's like, no, I can hold it, and you're my sister now. So takes precedence over everything. So you have to tell me what's going on. And Brie shakes her head. She's like, it's Brady. And Mel's like, of course it is. It's like, what else would it be?
Yes.
And then she closes her eyes and she's like, we slept together. And Kaya is like, oh, wow. I had no idea. Brie is like, yeah. And Mel's like, yeah, me neither. And she's like, well, I told Jack, so I assumed he told you. And Mel's like, well, no, I'm sure he didn't think it was his place to. Because, they don't tell each other. She goes, but I'm glad you're telling me.
Yeah. Jack and Mel are very good at keeping other people's secrets.
If that's what's required of them, if that's what's asked of them, they absolutely will.
Yeah.
The whole thing with Calvin being the twins' father, like Mel never told Jack. And it came out later. I don't even know how he found out, but that was like a secret, and there were a bunch of things that people have said, oh, I would have thought you would have said anything. And Mel was always like, no, why? No. Like, you asked me to keep a secret. I'm going to keep a secret. So Brie is just like, she goes, I don't know what I'm doing. This isn't me. I'm not a cheater. And Kaya's like, do you still have feelings for him? And she goes, there will always be feelings. But I don't know what that means. I just know that I'm lying to Mike. I'm messing with Brady's life. he wants to move on. And if he wants to be in a relationship with some sociopath, then, that should be his choice. And Mel's like, wait, Lark's a sociopath? She goes, and tonight? She goes, Brady told me that I'd always be the one. And Mel looks at her like, oh, like she's getting teary too. She goes, I just don't know what to do with that. I don't know if I can trust him. I know definitely I can't trust myself with him. That's why I'm with Mike, He's a good guy. And I want to commit to Mike. And Kaya looks at Mel and looks back at Brie. And she's like, then maybe you need to let Brady go. She goes, I have not known Brady for as long as you have. But what I see is a guy who's really trying. So if you're not in, then you got to end it, for good. And Brie's like, what if I can't do that? Oh, that's the crux of it.
Uh-huh.
She's literally in love with both of them.
Oh, yeah. Basically, yes. It's a menage a trois.
Yep.
And nobody's happy with nobody's happy with it.
Right. And Mel's like, well, then maybe the kindest thing that you could do is let them both go.
Yep.
And Brie's like, ugh. She goes, God. She's crying. Mm-hmm. Mel gives her a big hug. Kaya's there as support. Okay, now, if I remember correctly, and I think this is the scene they were talking about, when Alex Breckenridge and Zibby Allen were filming their podcasts, they talked about a scene that was very emotional, and the ladies were together. So this may have been the scene. Now, while this scene is being filmed, there were people. You know how like there's always people around. It's not their turn yet. Their scene is coming up, and
Right.
they're just sort of on the side. And I guess Martin Henderson and a few other people were sort of off to the side, like talking, having conversations, like laughing, having a good time. And
Mm-hmm.
I guess they were being really like loud and obnoxious and they were getting mad at them for like disturbing them while they're trying to have this emotional scene.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think it's funny that like, you know, hey, we're working here, and they're just trying to bother them while they're working because it's a very emotional scene, and other people are just, you know, they're not in the scene, so they're not worried about it, you know, it's not their scene. So they're off doing their own thing, and it's like we're trying to like get into the moment. We're trying to get into the tears and the crying, and you guys are like goofing off on the side. So I think that's funny. All right, so now we've got all of the guys, because this is what the guys do. They all sit around with their cigars and their whiskey. So we've got a big fire pit, and it looks like it's Preacher and Mike and Brady and Jack and 3 of his Marine buddies. So it's all the Marine guys, all sitting around. They have a beer. Well, not Jack has a beer. He has probably a water. All the guys have their one guy has a bottle of Jack Daniels, but you know, maybe he's sharing. So Jack's like, I know. It was a last minute decision. He's referring to dressing in his Marine blues. And Preacher's like, oh, yeah, very last minute. And all the guys start laughing. He goes, I don't know. I guess I just spent so long carrying all the pain of our experience that I started to lose sight of all the good in it. Like this brotherhood that we will always have. And Zeke is like, hoorah, because that's what they say when you're in the Marines. And Preacher's like, man, you know, when our backs were up against a Humvee taking enemy fire, I never imagined we'd all end up right here. And Jack's like, well, not all of us. And Jack's like, Chris will always be with us. And he would want us to go on with our lives. In fact, he would insist on it. Because that would mean his sacrifice was worth it. Preacher's like, amen. And Preacher's like, I don't think I've ever seen all of us look so confident looking ahead. One of the guys is like, yeah, right? Like, he's like, even Brady. Gonna be a family man, because he's dating Lark, who has a kid. And the guy imitates like an explosion, like he can't even believe it. It's like shocking. Like his head exploded. And Brady's like, I don't know about that. And he goes, it looks good on you. And he's like, thanks. And Mike is like, get them all out. And Preacher's like, yes, sir. And Preacher's like, I remember crawling out of that camper. Like, and the men start laughing. Now, at the same time that everybody's talking, Mike has taken the rim of the lid off of his beer bottle, and he's staring at it. Just staring at it. Interesting.
Could it be a proposal?
We'll see. So it's under the moonlight, and Mel and Jack have found a few moments alone, and he's like, hello, Mrs. Sheridan. And he's like, what is your favorite moment of the night? And she's like, Nick's barbecue? He goes, come on. She goes, I'm just so impressed. I didn't get any on this dress. He goes, okay, but that's your favorite moment of the night? And she's like, the doves were a nice touch. He goes, yeah, okay. She starts laughing. He goes, I applaud Bert for resisting the urge to hunt them. They both
We haven't
start
seen
laughing.
Bert.
No, but he's been there. He was in the background. He was there. And Mel's like, oh, gosh. She goes, I don't know. She goes, there's too many to consider. I'm going to be spending the next year thinking about tonight. And he's like, I think I'm going to be spending the rest of my life thinking about tonight. Oh. She's like, oh. She goes, all right, well, if I had to pick one, I would choose this moment. And he's like, this one? She's like, mm-hmm. He's like, why? She's like, because if I can hold on to this feeling I have right now, I know that we can get through anything. Gives her a kiss. And then everybody
Very
opens
sweet.
the very sweet. So these two are in the barn by themselves. Everybody is outside, like when people leave the wedding and they make a line of people. So everybody is lined up and they have sparklers. So they open the doors and Mel and Jack stop kissing for a second to look at everybody who's waiting there for their exit. Because they've cleared out the reception area. She has to lean down and pick up her dress as they walk through the line of people. And people are throwing rose petals and they have sparklers. All the happy faces.
We get to see the whole cast.
Everybody. As they're laughing and smiling as they walk by. And there's a old-time car, like a 1930s convertible. He puts Mel in the car. He goes around to the other side, to the driver's side. Now remember that Denny decorated it, so there's flowers on it and tulle, and there's cans on the back because that's what you do. They're not going far; they're only going to their house, but still, it's like up the road. And they have a big "Just Married" sign with 2 big hearts on the back. And as they're driving away, Brie's she's looking sad as she watches them drive away. Mike's right there with her, and he's like, "Hey." He's like, "You want to go for a walk?" She's like, "Yeah, sure." He's like, "Okay." So Brady goes back inside because now everybody's going to be on cleanup mode. And he sees Joellen. He goes, "Hey, Joellen, have you seen Lark and Hazel?" And she's like, "Oh, well, they left." He goes, "Left?" She goes, "I talked to Lark a little while ago. She asked if Nick could take her and Hazel back to the B&B. He goes, "Huh. Is everything okay?" She goes, "Yeah, no, it's okay. I'm just thought we were going to leave together. I'm going to swing by the B&B and see if I can catch them." And Joellen's like, "Brady, they're leaving there too." "She didn't tell you?" He goes, "What are you talking about?" "Well, before they left, Lark said that she and Hazel were checking out of the B&B. Lark gave up her housekeeping job. I assumed you knew." He goes, "Thank you. I'm just going to call her." She shakes her head. Yeah. She goes, "Sure." And he goes to pick up his phone. And it's 9:15 at night. And there's a message on his phone. It says, "Clear River Bank security notification. Confirmation of authorized withdrawal from checking account blah, blah, blah. New account balance is now 0.
Good Lord.
He goes into his bank account and there's nothing there.
Oh my God.
And he's just like breathing very deeply.
He's
He's
been
like,
screwed,
"Oh
ladies
my
and
God, oh my God." He's taking a deep breath like he's going to have a heart attack. So Mike and Brie are taking a walk, holding hands. They're over on like the patio area, the porch of the house. And he's like, "What a night." She's like, "Yeah." He goes, "I'm so happy for Mel and Jack." He's like, "They've definitely shown that a couple can survive anything." She's like, "Yeah, they do set a high bar." And they sit down on one of the outdoor couches. And he's like, "We do too." He goes, "I mean, we've been through our fair share. Stakeouts. It's like you getting shot, me seeing your parents naked, which is probably worse than me getting shot." And Bree's like laughing and crying at the same time. He goes, "But hey, every time that life gets tough," he grabs her hand. He goes, "Me and you, we've proven that we get tougher. And you're resilient." And she puts her hand on his hand. He's like, "I'm brave and strong." And she kind of chuckles. He's like, "You give me strength." She's like, "You give me strength too." He's like, "You've been carrying a lot the past few weeks, and I've wanted to take care of you and to hold space. She's like, Mike. He's like, to love you. He looks teary. Everybody's teary this episode. And I know that we talked about moving in together, but I'm thinking about our future. And she's starting to get very wide-eyed. And he's like, all of it. And I think we should just go for it. And she's looking at him like, what are you talking about? And she's like, go for what? And he gets up and she's looking nervous and he gets down on one knee as he's holding her hand.
Ooh, ooh.
And she's like, okay. And she grabs her hand, takes her hands away from him. And he goes into his suit jacket and he's like, I didn't plan for any of this. And he goes into the little pocket and he grabs the ring that he was holding from his beer bottle or water bottle. He's like, obviously. And he laughs. She's like, oh my. He goes, I promise I'm going to get you something better tomorrow. But for tonight. She's looking at him and looking at the ring and looking at him and looking at the ring. Her eyes are so big. He goes, Bree Sheridan, will you marry me?
Oh.
And she's like, He's waiting for an answer. And she's like, Mike, I slept with Brady.
Oh.
And he's like, I know. And the look on her face is like, and you still want to marry me? Okay, now before we go on, I need to say something. So this scene was filmed twice. They filmed it the first time with him just proposing. And the second time they filmed it with him saying that, with her saying I slept with Brady and him saying I know. And they didn't know, the actors didn't know which one they were going to go with. When it finally came out, because they filmed it both ways, and I think depending on how they, the writers and the directors and everybody, they talk about it, and when they do their final editing, it's like, what feel are we going to go with? Now,
Yeah.
there was talk like, how did he know?
Yeah.
So think about it. He knew before she knew, before anybody knew, that her parents were shacking up together. Remember, he's a detective. Not much gets past him.
Past it. Yeah.
And my guess is and there were some times where, and I don't know if anybody noticed it, but he's looking at Brady while Brady's looking at Brie, or looking at Brie while Brie's looking at Brady.
That's true. That is true.
There was a bunch of those moments throughout the wedding day, because that didn't happen that long ago. And he noticed something.
Yeah.
And, 2 and 2 together, you get 4, and probably something happened. And especially with, like, the parents, he saw that before anybody saw that. Because he said it. He said it before he even caught them. So I feel like he knew. And he just was hoping either she would tell him, or I don't know. I don't know who even knows. I mean, but he still wants to marry her.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like,
love is a darn thing, man.
I mean, I think he knows that she's in love with both of them. But I think that he knows that she also knows that Brady's probably not the right choice.
Not good. Yeah, it's not a good, yeah.
I mean, she's still with Mike, yet she slipped. So, I mean, is that going to be a problem? Like, is there is she going to slip again? Like, they got chemistry. They got some hot chemistry.
Honey, those two just look at each other and they could set a house on fire. What are you talking about?
Right? I don't know. So I guess we'll have to see. Oh my gosh. All right. So now that she didn't answer. Like,
That's
they ended that right there. Like, okay, I want to marry you. Uh, she slept with Brady, and he knows, and we're gonna hold that there. That's crazy.
yeah.
So the obviously the farm and the house, it's not ready yet. So they're Mel and Jack are still going to be at the cabin for a while because they still have to finish
Hmm.
the house. So we're back at the cabin. It looks like somebody set it up, before they got back.
Probably Lizzie, since
Probably
she was
Lizzie,
charged,
probably.
in charge of everything.
So Mel and Jack get back to the cabin, and Jack opens the door, and he stops Mel. He's like, "Wait, what?" And she's like, "What?" And he stops her, holds his finger up, like, "Hold on, just a second." And he bends down and he picks her up to carry her over the threshold. And she's like, "Jack!" And he's like, "Oh, you're so silly." And when they walk in, there's candles lit everywhere. There's flowers, candles, very like ultra romantic.
Yep.
He carries her over the threshold. She shuts the door, and they're just standing there in the middle of their very tiny little one-room cabin. It's just the cutest cabin. I absolutely love the cabin. And
I
he's
know.
kissing her. So cute. And it looks like somebody put candles on the floor, which is quite dangerous, especially with that wedding gown. That makes me a little nervous. Sorry. Sorry. I'm sorry. Um, but they have in rose petals, it's a shape of a heart,
Hmm.
and there's rose petals all over the floor, and there's just candles lit everywhere.
That it's for ambiance.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautifully done.
It is.
It's so romantic.
Hmm.
It's so beautiful.
It is.
So he's kissing her, and he takes her little jacket that she had, and he takes that off. So it's such a pretty jacket. Now he's kissing her neck and unbuttoning her dress, and there goes the dress.
There goes the dress.
Yep, more kissing. So she's got a corset on now. He's got about 8,000 buttons on his little uniform, so it's going to take a minute. And there goes the uniform and the t-shirt. More
Got to
kissing.
show the ab.
Oh yes, we must show the abs. More kissing. Yeah, this is definitely a lot sexier than they've been before. Because now they're in the bed and they're kissing and they're holding hands very vigorously, and she's hanging off the bed with her hair. And yeah, it's definitely sexier than it's been before. Very pretty, though. I mean, it's very, very well done. It's beautiful. So it's the next morning, and she's laying there with her head on his shoulder. And they're both kind of like, she's sort of staring into space, and he's sort of half asleep. And he's like, He's like, I could just lay here all day. And she kind of smiles. She goes, yeah, me too. And he opens his eyes and he kind of looks down at her. And she's making a face like, And they're holding hands. And he's like, except. And she's like, well, I can't believe I'm going to say this. And she rubs her face. She goes, but I'm hungry.
Ah.
He goes, and all we have are mushy chocolate covered strawberries and flat champagne. And he's like, all right, all right. As my first act of service as your dutiful husband, and he kisses the top of her head, I will go out and get us something to eat. And she's like, oh. He's, I really can't believe Hope didn't plan our breakfast. He goes to put his pants on. He goes, well, she got everything else right, though. He goes, yeah, that she did. He goes, yesterday really went off without a hitch, huh? And she smiles, and then she kind of stops, like thinking back. And she's like, well, one hitch, actually. And he's like, oh? He's like, come on. He says, okay, Lizzie. He goes, no. She goes, Charmaine. She was a no-show, and I left her a few messages. And she's looking at her phone to see if maybe she contacted her, left another something. She goes, and I texted her, and she never got back to me. And she calls again. She puts it on speakerphone. It says, you've reached Charmaine. She goes, now it just keeps going to voicemail. Jack's in the process of getting dressed while Mel's sitting in bed. And Jack's like, I'm sure she's fine. I mean, she's so overwhelmed with the twins. And he chuckles. He goes, remember, she kept getting the wedding date all messed up? And Mel says, yeah, but she was also taking a restraining order out on Calvin. And she's looking worried. And she's like, what if something happened to her? She's like, I want to go check on her. And he's like, no, 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 you're not. And he goes back to the side of the bed. And he points at her and he's like, no. He goes, and she's like, but he goes, you're going to stay here and relax. And he grabs his wallet and his keys and all that. He leans over across the bed, kisses her. He goes, my wife. He goes, I will go check on her while I'm out. She's
How
like,
sweet.
I know. She's like, your second active service? He goes, oh, of many more to come. So Mel just looks worried. So we're back at the clinic, and Hope is strolling in the front door, and she's like, Vernon. And Doc is in his doctor jacket. He's got his white coat on. He's sitting at his desk, and he's reviewing some paperwork. And he looks very distressed.
Mm-hmm.
And Hope walks in. She goes, Vernon, you are not going to believe this. She goes right up to his desk. He's like, what? And he's like, well, this was delivered this morning from the California State Medical Board. She's like, your license? He's like, yeah. Suspended pending an investigation. And Hope's like, bastards. He's like, I just can't fathom how it has come to this. I mean, this man, it feels like he's got a personal vendetta against me. And Hope's like, I don't think it's personal. I got a call this morning from a woman on the Grace Valley Hospital Board of Directors. And he's looking at her like, okay. He's like, she spoke like she didn't know that you and I were married. She was excited to share with me, the mayor, that Grace Valley is looking at expanding their network into Virgin River. And he's like, what? She goes, yeah, they're planning for you to be out of the picture. They want the clinic. He's like, now they're starting to piss me off. He's like, no, 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 no. Neither me nor the clinic are going down. Not without one hell of a fight. And they're looking at each other with devious smiles on their faces, leaning over the desk together.
Mm-hmm.
So we're back at the cabin, and you know how Mel and Jack have those Adirondack chairs that sit out overlooking the lake that's behind their house. So she's just sitting there having a cup of coffee, and she hears a car pull up, and it's Marley. Remember the pregnant woman with the husband and the wife, the frantic husband and the wife that are going to adopt her baby? And she's crying, and she's running over, and she's like, Mel. And she's crying, and Mel's like, hi. And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry to bother you at home, especially after your wedding. And she's holding her tummy, and Mel's like, it's okay. Are you okay? Are you feeling okay? She's like, I'm fine. The baby's fine. And she's like, okay, okay. She goes, I just need to talk to you. She's like, okay, let's talk. She goes, do you want to come and sit? And then Mel's phone starts ringing, and looks like it's Doc. And she's not going to take it because she's dealing with Marley. And Marley says, Phil and Darla are backing out of the adoption. She doesn't even go to sit down. Like, Mel's like checking her phone, and Marley can't even wait to sit down in order to tell her this. And Mel flips back to her, and she's like, what? Are you sure? Did they say that? She goes, well, not exactly, but, and she's like trying not to cry. She's like, God, she goes, Mel just is flabbergasted. And she's like, they seem so invested. And Marley's like, I know. I really wanted to give this place to my baby. So she wants her baby to be raised in Virgin River. And Mel's like, I know. She goes, look, all right, why don't we, the four of us, we can sit down and we can talk. And Marley shakes her head no. She goes, or if you want, I can talk to them. I'm sure there's a solution. And Marley's like, I already know the solution. And Mel's like, oh, okay. And she's like, Mel, I want you to have my baby.
And we drop the mic, ladies and gentlemen.
And Mel is like what? Like flabbergasted. Like, what? And she takes a deep breath with like, it's sort of like a hopeful deep breath, but a apprehensive one. So, so Jack shows up at this cute little house in this cute little subdivision, and he knocks on the door, but the door is open, which is already, if you've ever watched any detective, police, or medical drama, anytime you go to somebody's house and the door is already open, not even like unlocked, it's literally not even shut. He just taps it to knock on it and it opens. That's not a good sign. And you can see the stroller out front. So there doesn't seem to be a car in the driveway. We couldn't really tell except for Jack's, but I don't know. But he knocks on the door and the door opens and he's very apprehensive. He's like, Charmaine? Because this is Charmaine's cute little house. Remember, she used to be in that apartment on the second floor when she first was pregnant, and she had tons of baby stuff that overwhelmed Jack.
It is once she left him, she probably
maybe got a
money
settlement. Maybe a settlement.
Settlement, yeah, to buy that house.
That would make sense. That's good. I hope so, because she really did need something. I mean, her salary as a hairdresser, even if she was a manager, wasn't gonna cut it.
Yeah.
So let's hope that when she dissolved her marriage with what's his face, that that maybe she got something out of it and was able to get this cute little house. So Jack is very apprehensively walking in. He's like, Charmaine. And he walks in. He's like, hey, it's Jack. He's looking around, signs of anything. And as soon as he gets to the kitchen, there's things on the floor. There's a chair knocked over. There's food out. A bottle is out. It's like strange. It's very strange. It almost looks like the back screen has been left open. The back door is left open. He's looking around. There's a lamp, a table knocked over. Everything looks very disheveled. And the back door is open. If you look, the screen is open.
Yeah. It looks like there was a struggle.
Yes, definitely something happened. And he hears like lullaby music in the background, and he turns around and he walks to, now I don't know if he's ever been to this house, but there's a door that happens to have like little kids stickers all over it. So he's going to assume that that's the kids' room. And that's where the music is coming from. And he slowly opens the door and he looks in, and it's like a shock on his face. And that's where they end it. So we don't know what happened.
Nope, we do not.
And you figure no one's heard from Charmaine since she picked up the kids. Yes, she picked up the kids 2 days before the wedding from Mel and Jack, who watched them that night so she could have a few hours. Because she never answered the phone and she never showed up for the hair and makeup. She didn't come to the wedding. Nobody's seen her. And that's where we end it. That's season 6. That's a lot to unpack.
Yep.
So, wow. And now we have to wait like a year. It takes a year from when that episode came out, which was December 19th. Some people, like me, watched all 10 episodes all at once because I wasn't going to wait.
Well, yeah.
And
it took me 2 days.
Yeah, that's about right. And we may have to wait until December, possibly. They filmed season 7 in March. They started about 3 weeks later than they did for season 6. So they said that the episodes were ready around October. So they technically have enough time if if they are on the same track to get them out before the end of the year, but we won't know until they make an
Mm.
announcement. I mean, all they've announced is that season 8 is happening, which is awesome, but we don't know. So there's talk because other shows are being released at the end of the year. I think Netflix doesn't want to compete with popularity
Yeah.
because certain shows are going to be released before the end of the year. They might push other ones till after the first of the year. And I don't know. We just never know. So we're just going to have to wait and see. But once they release season 7, we'll let it percolate for a couple months and then we will rewatch and be back for more episodes. But until then, we've got ourselves a bunch of cliffhangers, and I think what we might do is come back and we'll go through all the cliffhangers. I think we might do a little bonus episode because there's a lot to
All right.
unpack here. There's a lot.
There is.
So I think we'll do that. But for now, we have closed the season. Mel and Jack are married. They're finally married.
Yay!
So the whole season was the first episode was we're getting married in 3 weeks, and the last episode is the day after their wedding. So the whole season was 3 weeks and 1 day. That's how we determined that. And because of the wedding invitation, the announcement or whatever that was, the program said that they got married on May 5th. So that means that we have ended the season on May 6th. So that's where we're at. And they've already said that when they come back for season 7, only a few hours have passed because they're going to have to tell what happened when Jack walked in the room. Now, when they filmed that and you saw Jack open the door and look in the room, they had not written, by now they probably have, but at that time, they had not written what he's seeing. He didn't know what he was looking at. They didn't tell him. They filmed it. My understanding is they filmed it a couple different times, a couple different reactions. Like he didn't look down. He didn't look up. Like we don't know if someone's laying on the ground, if it's Charmaine, if he's looking at a disheveled room, if he's looking at a dead body. Like we have no idea what he's seeing.
Right.
And it could be anything. And so they filmed it a couple of different ways. And when they figured out what he's looking at, then they'll pick the appropriate reaction to go with that.
Right.
So we're just going to have to wait and see. So.
Yes, we will.
And like I said, it's only going to be a couple of hours because they have to continue. You can't not explain that. I mean, it's Virgin River. We feel we need to, now that they've spoiled us and they've gotten us accustomed to knowing what's happening every moment, you know, we're going to have to. We're going to have to know. So.
They do not disappoint.
Let's hope. We'll see. So, all right. Well, there you go. There you have it. Season 6 finale.
Yay!
We made it.
We made it.
Oh, lots of fun. All right, so next season's going to be interesting. There's a lot to unpack. So we'll
certainly did.
We'll come back and we'll do one more episode and we will hash it all out. We'll see where we end up. All right. Well, for now, thank you everybody for listening. We do appreciate it.
Yes, au revoir, folks.
Thank you so much. Till next time. Bye-bye.